Okay, so Raquel, thank you again for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to be here to talk about something different. This is my third presentation for Galera da Adrenalina. And I also took the course to become an interpreter, but I'm actually a Portuguese as a foreign language teacher at the American School of Brasília here. So I'm from São Paulo state, but I've been living here for 6 years now. And I have 16 years of experience teaching Portuguese as a foreign language in Brazil and overseas. So the topic for my presentation today is just a conversation among different language teachers. I assume that many of you that are becoming interpreters or already work as an interpreter, you also teach English, French, other language, right? So this presentation is going to be more like a conversation among language teachers. So I'm going to show you 6 different platforms that you can use in your language classroom. Okay? So I'm going to go very straight to the point. I'm going to walk you through these platforms and give you some tips on how to use them in a language learning experience. So, before I made this presentation, I asked ChatGPT, why should I use technology in a language class? This was the answer that I got from ChatGPT. So if you're using technology in a language class, you are also enhancing engagement and motivation. 2, authentic language use. 3, individualized learning path. 4, communication and collaboration. And finally, immediate feedback and assessment. So I totally agree with these answers from ChatGPT because since I use a lot of technology in my classes, because I work in a school, in an international school here in Brasília, in which we are so focused on technology and all the learning tools that we have out there, we are using in our school. So there's a pressure, an expectation for me to use this technological tools in my class. And I can see by using these technology tools, I can see a lot of engagement, motivation, authentic language use. It really makes a huge difference in the learning environment. So in terms of engagement and motivation, Google Apps, if you're using Google Apps, Google for Education, for example, you can see more engagement because you're not only using textbooks or notebooks, traditional things. You're also using Google Slides, Google Docs, you're using Google Classroom, a good platform to integrate all the Google apps in one place. Authentic language use. You have, for example, Padlets that I'm going to show you today. How you can showcase your work. How can you get feedback from peers? How can you showcase different types of activities? For individualized learning, if you work in an international school, there's a lot of pressure to differentiate learning. So basically, sometimes you have one particular student that needs to receive differentiated resources. So Padlet or Flip are good platforms for that. In terms of communication and collaboration, there's so many different ways to enhance communication and collaboration in the learning environment. Just by using technology, there are so many resources out there that you can use to enhance communication. Maybe you want to do something like peer assessment. Students showcase their work and they get feedback from their peers. And finally, feedback and assessment. If you're doing Kahoots, Blue-Kits, these online quizzes, you can always get immediate feedback because you can always see the right answer. So for today in this presentation, I'm gonna walk you through 6 different platforms to work and improve engagement, motivation, authentic language use, differentiation, collaboration, communication, feedback, and assessment. Okay? So, how do I personally use technology in the classroom? First of all, I have to explain and give a little bit of context. I work in a very privileged school where the students need to have laptops in the class. So for every class that I teach, and I'm a full-time teacher at EAB, my students, they have to bring their laptops to school. So I can use a lot of technology because the students have access to it. So of course, I still use notebooks for notes, but there's an expectation for me to really dive into technology in my classes. And I think there are many benefits of using technology. I'm going to show you the benefits of technology. So, straight to the point, I'm going to show you and walk you through these resources. Okay? The first resource that I want to show you is Google for Education. Of course, everybody heard about Google for Education. You know there's Google Classroom out there, which is a platform to manage your teaching. You know that we have Google Slides, Google Docs, but how can I integrate all these Google apps into one single and centralized platform? We have Google Classroom, which is an amazing platform. I'm going to show you how I use Google Classroom in my class. Again, all my students have a laptop in class, okay? That's why it's easy for me to manage everything online. So in Google Classroom, it's basically the learning platform where you're going to be posting assignments. You're going to be posting resources. You're going to be assessing your students through this platform. As you can see here, you can see all the classes that I teach. So I have my Portuguese 1, Portuguese 2, Portuguese 2, 3. I also teach an elective course called Brazilian Culture. So I basically teach Portuguese as a second language to the international community at EAB. EAB means American School of Brasilia. So I'm going to show one example here. My Portuguese level 1, how to organize the resources and assignments. So basically every class that I teach, after I teach the lesson, and in my school, we have to teach a lesson for the lesson itself. The mini lesson, it's about 15 minutes. For the rest of the class, around 50 minutes, they have to be working in groups or maybe by themselves. They have to do something with the language. That's our philosophy. We are not giving lectures to students, especially in my case, because I work with the middle school, for example, 11, 12, 13 years old. So they're basically doing things in the target language. That's my goal. That's what applied linguistics says. Oh, you have to work with a communicative approach. Okay, so then we have inputs. So we know about comprehensive input. Your teachers heard about comprehensive input. So I basically organize these comprehensive inputs and all the assignments, all the work they have to do in one centralized place. So if our students have Gmail, they can have access to Google Classroom. So in Google Classroom, you can organize your resources into different units, and then you basically integrate all the Google apps in one place. As you can see here, you have a topic for your class. Let's say Survival Portuguese 1. And then you can post the doc they're going to be working on. And it's amazing how Google Classroom works with this, because basically when the student opens the doc, they have their own copy. So they don't need to make another copy and share with you. So you always choose the option, students make a copy. So this is going to be automatic in the platform. As soon as they get to Google Classroom, they just open the doc, it's their copy. So they're working there in their copy. And then you may share a Google slide as a resource. You may share a video lesson if they need to catch up later. Okay? This is what I do for every single class that I teach. They have access to a Google slide. They have the assignment in Google Docs, and they have a mini lesson, just a summary of the lesson by using Loom. I'm going to walk you through Loom too, just to show you another platform to make videos. Okay, so this is an amazing way to organize your assignments. And the students, they can see the deadlines. You can grade here if you go to the grade book. And then you can keep track on the students' progress. So you can literally see if they're doing the assignment, if they're not doing the assignment. You have access and control of everything they're doing in class. Okay? So when I open this grade book, I can see if the students are missing assignments. So, and then I can talk to my students who are not working. Okay? So it's an amazing platform. Okay, this is my main platform, I would say, because I basically post everything here. Okay, but I want to show you different resources that I have been using for my classes. This is Google Classroom, right? And then you have also Padlet. Google Classroom is very good for students and teachers, but it's not the best option to showcase your work. Let's say you want to come up with a portfolio. Students have their own portfolio. Maybe they're writing, they are recording videos. They want to keep everything in one place. Padlet is the best option for that. So let me show you my portfolio. For example, me as a teacher, at the end of the year, I need to have a conversation with my principal to showcase some of my work. So I decided to use Padlet as a way to keep some samples of student work in one single place. This is an amazing way to showcase your work, not only for teachers, but also as interpreters, as translators. You may need to come up with portfolios sometimes, and Padlet is one of the best options out there. Okay, as you can see here, I have good samples of students, pictures, I have videos, I have many different things in one place. If you click there, you can see the picture, zoom out, and then you go back. Maybe you write a brief description here of the picture, the evidence that you have. Okay. So it's really, really helpful to have this Padlet. You can showcase pictures, work, anything that you like. Audios, videos, anything. I have audios here, student evidence. And this is very good for me as a teacher to show to my principal at the end of the year, because we have this one-on-one conversation with our principals to talk about achievement at the end of the year. Okay, this is Padlet. You can do so many different things with Padlet. This is one type of Padlet, and it's free. Another type of Padlet, for example, if you choose a map, you can also work on a map. So for example, for this project here, my Portuguese 1 students, they were learning about touristic cities in Brazil. So they had to come up with a project in groups, basically advertising the cities. So they did some research on the cities, and they had to come up with presentations with pictures, recommendations for each place. And this is a very good way to showcase their work. As you can see, if you go here, you see Fernando de Noronha, and then you click, you go to the slideshow, everything centralized in one place, in a visual layout, okay? Very good, this platform. I strongly recommend this platform. for any type of profession. You don't need to be a teacher to be using Padlet. Maybe you find it helpful also for your profession. Okay? So this is another example for Padlet. I'm gonna show you now another platform that I love, especially for videos. Let's say you're teaching a class that requires a lot of collaboration, and you want students to record videos on a daily basis. Let's say they are learning French, and they need to record something like a vlog every day. So there's a very good platform to make interactive videos. It's called Flip. I don't know if you have heard about it, but it became very popular during the pandemic. I started using it during the pandemic, but I never stopped using it because it's so good. For example, for this Flip, you basically have different prompts. Let's say I was teaching, for example, my Portuguese level 1. They were learning about food vocabulary. But it would be very traditional if I were teaching them just a list of vocabulary, right? This is against the theory that we have in applied linguistics, right? You don't want to teach students just vocabulary out of context. You're teaching them food vocabulary through a task. So, for example, you create a prompt, you explain what they have to do. And in my case, I still use English for instructions because they're level 1. So they don't have a full understanding of Portuguese. So I kind of mix English and Portuguese in level 1. You can record a video yourself as a model. So that the students can have one example here. For this particular task, for example, students had to teach something from their countries, how to cook something from their countries. I taught them how to cook couscous, which is very common in the Northeast. So I was teaching them how to cook couscous in Portuguese. That's my target language, of course. And then as a project, they had to come up with their videos teaching something from their countries. So, and then you have all the videos together in one single place. It's just like setting up a YouTube channel. The students have access to this page. They can like each other's videos. They can comment each other's videos. They can see how many views they got for the video. It's really interactive. I was thinking even for like interpreters, maybe if you're teaching how to interpret, you have your course. You may use this platform to make your course more interactive so that the other members can see each other's videos, comment, give feedback, and so on. Okay? As you can see here, I have all the videos in a centralized place. This is called Flip, and it's free. Okay? And then you just need to set up a classroom. As you can see, I have my Portuguese 1, 2, and 3, and then they have access to this platform. And for privacy reasons, they only have access to the platform if you allow them to join the platform. And then you can also protect the student data. So you have a lot of videos here. So I need to be careful about the privacy, right? So it's really good to have this tool in this platform. You can only allow students that ask to join, okay? So this is a very good platform for interactive videos. If you want to teach speaking, for example, it's the best one. And it's so easy to share with students because as soon as you decide your prompt, you create a page and then you have a link. You just share this link, they click on the link and then record directly here on the platform. They don't need to download an app to make a video. You just click here and start recording right away. Otherwise, they also have the option to upload a video here. But The best part of this platform is that students don't need to download another app to make videos. So if you're working with a population that struggle to use technology, this is so much easier. Basically, you just have to click and record, and it's free. Okay, so the next platform that I want to show you is Kahoot and Bluebeam. I think everybody heard about Kahoot, okay? So if you never heard about Kahoot, this is one of the best platforms for quiz, online quizzes. So if you just taught food vocabulary, maybe at the end of the class, you want to test your students if they are mastering the vocabulary of that particular lesson. And then you have a quiz. You just project on your board. They can use their cell phone or laptop and then join the quiz. And they answer the questions. At the end of the quiz, they see the results. So there are a lot of different things that you can do in Kahoot. You can also add slides if you want. So it's a very fun way, especially if you work with the teenagers, kids, but even adults, they love Kahoot because it's very interactive. There's a little competition there. It's a good way to gamify your lesson. Nowadays, many teachers are talking about gamification. So basically, how to turn your lesson into a game. Okay? Sometimes you can teach an entire lesson in a gamified version, and you can see the results. Results are clear, more engagement, more motivation, more fun. It's really, really helpful to have this platform, and it's also free. Of course, if you decide to pay for the premium version, you have more tools and resources. Look, it's very similar to Kahoot, but it's even more fun because by doing this one, students actually choose the type of video game they're going to be playing. It's literally a video game tool, okay? But for them to play the video game, they have to answer many questions, okay? You can make the questions here, and then you post, and then they have to answer these questions. It could be Portuguese, English, French, any subject, but they are answering questions in order to pass the phase in their video games, okay? It is a video game here. It's different from Kahoot then, because you have more options and more video game options. And finally, I'm gonna show you another platform to screencast your lessons. Let's say sometimes you need to screencast a lesson. What do I mean by screencast a lesson? So I'm screencasting this presentation right now. I'm talking while walking through different platforms on my screen. So this is called the screencast lessons because you're teaching and you're showing something, okay? So Loom is a very practical tool to record screencast lessons. I do that a lot because sometimes I have students who need to catch up at home. Maybe they're missing classes, or maybe they arrived in the second semester and they are lost. They need to go back to lesson number 1, but we are in the second semester. So I decided to screencast every lesson that I teach. So basically, if they're missing a particular lesson, they have the chance to watch a mini lesson that I recorded to them, okay? So, and then you can organize in different folders. As you can see here, let's say they missed a lesson about verb conjugation. So they're struggling to conjugate a verb. Instead of you teaching again how to conjugate a verb, you're going to ask your students to watch a mini lesson that you recorded before. Of course, there are many ways to do that, many different platforms to record videos, but I found this one very easy and user-friendly, okay? So as you can see, they have access to the lessons. They can see your little face there. You're talking and you're teaching them something. This is a good way to record your lessons if you need to do so. Okay? So, let me see. So, in this presentation, I walked you through 6 different platforms. Google for Education, how to integrate all the Google apps in a centralized page, such as Google Classroom. I showed you how to showcase your work by using Padlet. If you need to come up with a portfolio, Padlet is a good option. I also showed you 2 platforms to play quizzes with your students, okay? To play online quizzes, Kahoot and Bluekit. I also showed you how to make interactive videos by creating a page on Flip so that your students can comment each other's video and also like each other's video. And finally, I showed you how to screencast your lessons by using Loom. This was my presentation about technology in the foreign language class, but it also applies to any other subject. Let's say if you teach history, chemistry, you can also use these platforms in your classes. I can guarantee that by using these technology tools, your classes are going to be more engaging and you're going to see a clear results at the end. Thank you so much for the attention. This is my email address. If you want more tips on how to use technology, just email me. I can help you somehow. Okay? Any questions? I'm open for questions. Let's say questions in Portuguese or English, doesn't matter.